Lee Sin first pick here, though. Pretty standard bans from Cloud9. Double ban towards topside and the Zeri getting taken off the table away from Berserker, who has been incredible on it. Of course, also really interested to see what Isles is going to be playing. He is a guy that is kind of more known for the range supports, which speaks to playing more of a lane dominant style. That's not really how Cloud9 played with Berserker and Winsome. They were more stable in lane. Winsome not as lane dominant for sure. And it was more about the team fighting there for Berserker. With Nocturne coming through, I wonder if we're going to get Nocturne Kennen, a comp that is getting more popular and that we did see come out a few times already in the LCS playoffs. Turn off the lights, look for the flank, and it's a relatively strong pick.
Even in the tiebreaker that Golden Guardians faced off against FlyQuest, Licorice did bring out that Kennen. There was a bit of misfortune with an exhaust being a key shutdown component in that, but you could see the strength that can come from that pick and a lot of the reliance upon his pool and what he can bring. But it's part of the bot lane being locked in here. Xayah coming into the Rift. Yeah,
MF is available, and that's just going to get snap locked. So insta-lock on the MF. Oh, it's the Renekton hover. We don't know if it's going to get locked.
Whenever there's fans here, I can never think of any hover.
Look at Fudge's face. He knows what he's doing.
Oh, is it the Renekton? Is it the Ivan? Where's the Teemo?
Man, they're all cracking up. You got to love that. They're not taking it too serious, having a bit of a laugh. They know the Renekton was not a popular pick with the fans. Leona MF, though, really strong bot lane duo here, getting locked in. The setup for that combo. Leona has the lockdown. MF with the ultimate to follow through can be really, really devastating. Not one of the most safe marksmen, though, especially if you're expecting dive to come through. Braum, very interesting. So going pretty defensive here. It is a strong answer to MF. You can block out the bullet time with your shield. That is pretty powerful. But you are going to need some sort of a dive buddy for Nocturne. That's kind of why I was expecting, hey, maybe it's going to be a Recon for that pairing. Looking for engage from support. They obviously have a go button with Pridestalker, but someone has got to be there to actually follow up with him. You can't solo dive into the back line as that Nocturne. So I'm curious then, because I'm looking towards Licorice to be that dive buddy. Who is going to be the champion that he's going for? As Camille going to get banned out. So that would be one of the possible ones.
Yeah, still keeping that top lane pick under Hidden Guise. Cloud9 taking away the Ahri, targeting that mid lane here. But definitely have some of that late game team fighting with that Leona, with the MF, as you mentioned. You know, the Lee Sin, I think one important thing, we talked so much about closer on the Lee Sin during the previous series, but it was before that Fudge was calling how Blaber best Lee Sin in North America. I mean, still very formidable.
The Cloud9 fans have abandoned them. Look at the fan vote for the draft. People not feeling the Cloud9 picks thus far. Blaber really, really strong on the Lee Sin. It's a double solo lane bans here from Golden Guardians. Of course, Rise going to get taken away from Fudge. Camille being banned away there from Summit. So looking further down the pool, Tryndamere is another pick that Summit has gone to. His most played by far is Gnar, but that's the same for Licorice. His second most played is in fact the Tryndamere. And then it's kind of a smattering of different options. Also really curious to see if it is going to be something, completely out of left field, something different. And if Licorice will be the blind pick here, if they're going to save that for AblazeOlive. I feel like it makes more sense to blind mid and save Licorice's pick for 5th, just because of the struggles that Summit has been having. Golden Guardians, I think, would be wise to try to emulate some of that, to try to have a good nullifying pick there for Licorice, because at least last week, if you could shut down Summit, it looked like Cloud9 didn't have a lot else really going on, but it's going to be blind Ornn. So now the question that is on everyone's mind will get answered. What is going to be the answer here? Do you go heavily towards split? Do you play an aggressive, ranged matchup into this? Rumble would be interesting, and I think actually fits pretty well as far as the kind of team fighting that they're building out here, but
see what he ends up wanting to take into that lane, because on the opposite side for Licorice on the Ornn, making sure that you have that late game engage, some stability that you can work around. You don't necessarily have to attack in the same way. But Cloud9 here with this lock-in, taking the Viktor for some very reliable scaling to come out of the mid lane from Fudge.
You just get a smile on their face every time they hover it.
I mean, nothing like fans cheering, right? And that's one way to get it to come on through. But Cloud9, it doesn't look like that's what they're going to do. Gangplank instead layering a lot of these AoE ultimates upon one another for some very great execution later on.
Yeah, this is really interesting, though, because he's definitely not known for his GP. Career total, 4 GP games for Summit. has never won a game on GP in competitive play. So it is a newer champion for him, you know, something that he's obviously tried to pick up probably over this last little bit of time after they did lose out. But if people are going to blind tanks into you, GP is a great answer. Corki comes in 5th pick here. It's just scaling in the mid lane. But GP in isolation, relatively safe to play by yourself on that top side. Not someone that requires a ton of pressure. Blaber could play more heavily towards bot side and enable the engages from the Leona and the Lee Sin, use that cross map ulti, just farm it up, play it slow and steady. But a lot of scaling on both sides here and a much more powerful front line on the Golden Guardians team. So it will be really tough, I think, for Cloud9 come 5v5.
I mean, Cloud9 and Golden Guardians both setting their mark here, and a different look on both sides, right? We are wondering how Golden Guardians were going to look to counter some of the weaknesses.
Guardians.
Let's get it. Game 1, drafts locked onto the Rift we go. So one thing as far as looking at these two teams, we talked a bit about the individual picks that everyone's brought through, but as far as overarching strategies, what would you say is the bottom line for each squad?
I mean, I think for Golden Guardians, it's really just playing to scale. You know, Xayah, Corki, incredibly strong in the later stages. They're looking for 5v5. Ornn, really strong scaling pick, of course, as well. You know, bringing in the Ornn upgrades later on. For Cloud9, you know, they can play more heavily through sides, you know, using the GP. I think they can also play pretty heavily for, you know, their setups. It's going to be important to find those engages, set up the Viktor and MF for success because they have a tremendous amount of AoE damage.
Yeah, those that have the responsibility of the setup, though, making sure that sweat stays nice and cool on the brow and not gather too early here. But standard start here across the board. Everybody at the line of scrimmage. Some forward positioning from Olleh, just seeing if anybody comes through that riverside, but ready to retreat and gets the lane started.
Yep, absolutely. It is going to be airy here for Fudge. So playing more for the poke. Pretty standard stuff as far as the runes do go. It is going to be common MF. Very likely lethality going to be, you know, bought up by the MF, which is going to mean, you know, it's more on the Viktor to really get through the Ornn in the later stages. And on the other side, also expecting lethality Xayah, given that we are doing the airy start, is not lethal tempo, so it likely will not be on hit. It will just be the kind of Q-Max Xayah looking for poke, trying to battle against Berserker here, who is, of course, going to be on the E start. And both of these guys, you know, a lot of it is going to be down to how much poke can you land, can you push out the other AD.
Yeah, both of them definitely looking to do so. Berserker has been a name that has come up as well, who we don't always talk about as much in the earlier stages of the game, but is pretty reliable once he gets into that scaling capacity.
I mean, his team fighting is incredible, and as much as people talk about, you know, 100 Deep running over Cloud9 in that series, you know, Cloud9 was knocking on the Nexus in Game 2, I believe it was, and Berserker had some incredible team fighting that gave them opportunities to win, that gave them chances to make some of those games closer than they otherwise would have been. He has been immaculate with his team fighting. His positioning was very, very good. He consistently is putting out a ton of damage. So Berserker has been really, really important, but Cloud9 have just not been lane dominant. And of course, you know, that is multiple pieces to the puzzle. It's not just on Berserker. It is about, you know, the duo that he had with Winsome. So Cloud9 perhaps looking to play a little bit more lane dominant here, trying to create those advantages by bringing in Isles.
That might be the strat for them here, pushing up already directly, using the AoE of the abilities to clear the waves as much as possible, and buy some time for the junglers to make their pathing as well, because Blaber and Pridestalker both did start over on that top side. Licorice falling to about 50% HP here, but has some mobility to get out of range. Blaber's made his way through. It's warded up in Cloud9's favor. And even a step up of Isles to try and bait some attention here. Yeah, Pridestalker's over here on his romp, just picked up that blue. See if there's any response. Licorice is low, has the pots popped. No more sustain available to him, so he's going to take a back right now to teleport back to lane.
Yeah, Summit actually doing a really good job of utilizing his passive. You know, every single time Trial by Fire was up, he was going for that true damage auto, getting that down, getting the grass procs, really kind of just bullying the Ornn in these early levels. Is some fantastic early laning. Already procced Grasp 10 times in this early on in the lane is very, very impressive. He's been using the barrels well to reset his passive and to constantly get those procs. So really nice early lane here from Summit. Should be able to base up. He's easily going to have his Sheen buy and going to be feeling really good about that as your first base. It is kind of just a full 6-camp clear for both junglers. They both pick up a scuttle. As Blaber did get the bot scuttle thanks to their bot lane prio, but didn't actually go back up towards top to try to double scuttle. And, you know, so far, so good here for both teams. Pretty stable laning. The first base is coming through. It was, of course, the tier start for Berserker. You know, they were kind of forcing out a couple potions from Lost, but not able to create any sort of a massive advantage and just used it to get a quick early recall there.
Recalls coming through over on the GG bot lane side too, doing just that. The wards being pretty standard as well. AblazeOlive making sure to throw that into the enemy jungle so they could notice if we saw Blaber going in any aggressive pathing, but still not wanting to be too on your tippy toes right here. You know, they just want to hold it back a little bit.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of great lanes to actually gank here for Blaber. You know, maybe if Licorice is overextended or bot line is overextended, you can try to go for some sort of a play. But, you know, Lost has Cleanse and Olleh has Exhaust, so it's going to be very difficult, you know, for Leona to really set anything up and for you to actually follow through and have enough damage down. So Isles moving towards mid. This just looks like a move to actually help him reset the wave, use your Targon stack. Fudge is out of mana, so he's just looking to actually get his base off here. And as soon as he shows mid, they're going to try to punish Berserker a little bit down on that bottom side. And as expected, both of these marksmen going to be going towards that lethality build. But Licorice could be in some trouble here. Trial by Fire is up, so he has to get back to that tower. And now, being this low, does have one biscuit remaining, but he's going to have to base. And this is where you will start to lose something off of this, as there's no teleport available this time around. Summit's going to be able to shove this in. Should be able to deny at least one full wave, even though it is going to be a cannon wave coming in.
I mean, the 1v1 is Summit's favorite place to be, as you can see in the way he was pressuring there. So Licorice punished for having to use that teleport earlier. Both teleports down from the top laners as well as Fudge in mid. The dragon has spawned and was warded out effectively with a lot of the controls on the side of Golden Guardians and the rotations from Isles to make sure there's no aggressive push past that.
And I mean, it's just been a very passive early game here. You know, one of the big parts of the 100 Thieves game plan was not only did they go for these neutralizing picks like the tanks, but they actually heavily pressured Summit. They attacked him very much in the early game. And Pridestalker obviously playing the Nocturne, going to be difficult to do that. You know, not going to have that early game pressure, is trying to power farm up here. And Cloud9 will just start up this dragon. They have bot lane prio, you know, with this MF here, tier start, Comet, and they're going to be able to grab a first dragon here very early on. So Cloud9 taking this almost on spawn, unless Golden Guardians want to try to commit to this.
We'll see. No ultimates there just yet. Isles goes in, and Olleh throws down the Q onto Blaber, the exhaust onto Berserker, but AblazeOlive has made his way through. He's between multiple members of Cloud9, though, zipping on down. First blood to Berserker. Does Cloud9 want more? Yes, they do. Isles goes for it with the E again. Olleh is marked down low, but he's zoned off by a single support, which means that his teammate is going to go down. Pridestalker has fallen. Olleh finds safety, but Cloud9 take the dragon to start stacking him up.
Oh, huge win for Cloud9 on that bottom side. Again, GP can join, but Ornn cannot because he drops the cross-map ulti there. They get 2 kills onto Berserker. They grab the dragon as well, as Blaber actually got 2 smites off and barely survived, you know, with the heal from both of those. First smite used on the Scuttle, the second one at the very end on the dragon. They see Pridestalker coming over. They drop the GP ulti as Isles flashes in. But look at Blaber here, down very, very low. Uses the smite to get that heal off of the Scuttle Crab. Fudge moving in, though. So much AoE damage coming across from this Viktor, and from Berserker helping to chase them down. Get this second kill here. And then again, Blaber very, very low, hiding back. The smite charge comes back up again, and he's able to smite to secure that and survive against the dragon. Well played by Cloud9. It's exactly how you would want these early stages to go. Now for Cloud9, though, you have to track the first Nocturne ulti, because you've got to know Pridestalker is hitting 6, and it's your job to try to find out where he is, either through deep wards or have Blaber hovering these lanes, because Summit has been dominating in that 1v1 on top side. He's already up 20 CS. But he is very squishy, so you've got to protect him from that first Nocturne ulti. And I think if Golden Guardians get nothing from that, the game's going to get really, really tough.
That is the key. Going into that last fight, Summit and Fudge were the only ones that were 6. AblazeOlive right at the tail end, hitting it before he entered the fight. Now we do have that paranoia up and available for Pridestalker. Everyone else starting to catch up as well. Lost and Olleh still waiting to hit their spikes. Very typical for the supports on both sides, but you're also being wary about the weakness of your AD carry.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, there's no flash on Lost. There's no sums whatsoever on Olleh. There is, you know, just one flash piece, you know, kind of on both of those sides. Cleanse is available for Lost, but if you hit 6 on Leona, you can force the cleanse with the ulti, follow up with the Zenith Blade. Any sort of lockdown into Berserker's ultimate that is available could definitely be a kill. So Cloud9 can continue to look to try to punish in this area. Golden Guardians, though, nice little bit of vision clear here. They see Cloud9 push in. They know that they move to actually look for the ward. So Olleh comes up, sweeps that out, trying to keep eyes off their Nocturne. You know, really, that is the way that you answer Nocturne. Because he can ult from over walls, he can ult from pretty far distance, is actually warding out the camps, knowing where he is before he goes for the play.
It's that regular ebb and flow that you see from Berserker and Isles, and you saw from Berserker and Winsome prior too. Just making sure you step just up enough into that enemy jungle so you can spot where they are with the pathing, but don't overcommit if you don't need to, because obviously Lost and Olleh were responding very effectively. So still making sure to be tempered here and you don't give away any unnecessary pressure.
Yep, Cloud9 though taking the most out of this. You know, they're already over here onto Herald. They have had push in mid lane. They are winning through top lane, so Blaber feeling comfortable to do this. Isles moves up, Berserker moves across as well. They are going to be losing at least a plate, I would assume, in bot lane because Xayah did not move. So one plate already down there, so that will be the cost thus far. We'll see if he can actually get a second, but Berserker can likely start moving back immediately, so it probably will just be the one plate that they take, as Cloud9 should be back in time to answer, and it's a good play for Herald towards topside. And as I said, that is how Golden Guardians creates their advantages. It's not actually through kills, it is generally through farm, it is through taking Herald, it is through grabbing tower with that. But with Herald already on Cloud9's side, with multiple winning lanes for them, you can't see Golden Guardians really being able to grab the first tower of this game.
I mean, Lost is another one, too, that you're looking to just play that patient game, has been strong in his positioning in some of the team fights, but he's not going to be the one in this top side play. He can't make his way there. Ornn flash through immediately. The paranoia comes on down. Here's Nocturne right under the tower. They take one. Golden Guardians get on the board. Blaber connects with the Q, but won't go for it.
Great first ulti there coming through. Really early flash from Summit. He just tried to get back to his tower to try to buy some time for Blaber to get up there. Does not work out, though. They do get the kill. It goes on to Licorice. You would have preferred it on the Nocturne, but still going to be feeling really good about executing on that first ultimate. It's so important for Nocturne to be able to continue power farming, ult on cooldown, get pressure out on the map every time that is available. And with Golden Guardians, you're having so much late game, so much scaling, you know, not only through the composition, but they have 3 tiers scaling up. You know, they are playing much more of a late game style. So as long as they don't get blown out early by Cloud9, they are going to be really competitive in the team fights.
And even with that assist, able to finish out the stride breaker here for Pridestalker. So Mythic completed and online to be a powerful force. AblazeOlive is funneled directly here into the riverside, flashes over the wall as soon as the Chaos Storm is dropped. A Blaber, a flash and a kick to boot. Licorice here doesn't quite get the knockup, but the death ray is strong. It doesn't matter. Golden Guardians get one. A kill once again.
Yeah, Blaber tries to go in for the play. They're not expecting Pridestalker to be in the area, but he missed his first Q, so when he actually kicked him, his Q is still on cooldown, so he doesn't have the Sonic Wave to follow up immediately. And then AblazeOlive gets out of that kick, sidesteps it. This is going to cost them the Dragon on the bottom side very likely as well, which means they lose their kind of soul stacking condition here very early on. Golden Guardians, a big swing back, getting a couple of important kills and critically taking away Dragon, slowing down that stack towards soul.
Slashing the Dragons 1-to-1, slashing the gold a bit down as well, keeping it tight so that they can make sure to have an impact in this game. And those little micro moments are exactly what you need on Golden Guardian's side to start identifying some openings.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Cloud9 just over-forcing there. There's not much else to say about it. You know, when you go for this first play and you miss the Q, you pretty much just have to accept, all right, we pushed him out, go back towards mid, drop Herald, and go set up for the Dragon. But so since his first Q missed, he goes over, he kicks him, but he doesn't have the Sonic Wave off cooldown, so he's not able to follow up perfectly. AblazeOlive, nice little sidestep there. You know, Pridestalker on bot side, but Licorice able to answer him, and not much of a reaction there. Like, it's just a little bit of a laugh, you know.
A little cheeky, you know, rise of the corner up, but here's some more action now. Forge God calls upon it once again, and Summit is in the center of it all. A fear to make sure he can't get away. Golden Guardians up in the kills in this game.
Yeah, nicely done. Another ult right off cooldown towards topside. Cloud9 have not been able to get any of the deep wards, looking towards a play for mid, but Olleh is here, so he's gonna be fine. I mean, you just kind of look at this vision on this top side. You look at this quadrant on the map. There's no vision in there. There's no vision in here. Golden Guardians has done a really good job of actually clearing out all of those wards, having defensive pinks to have good spots for Pridestalker to ult from. And if you can't track where he is on these camps, it's very difficult to stay safe. You know, Summit creates advantages by pushing in and harassing Licorice at tower, you know, taking plates in his face. But now a couple kills already over to Licorice, and it's going to get much more difficult to actually bully this Ornn. It's going to be the Essence Reaver rush here from Summit, so very strong early power spike, but Golden Guardian's getting, I think, a lot more out of this early game.
Yeah, and I want to see them keep up the vision in this effective way, because vision is obviously really important to winning the game, but when you have someone like Pridestalker on these type of picks, not just the Nocturne, but a lot of these assassin junglers that he likes to bring, you want to set up that element of surprise as much as possible, which can get more difficult to execute as the map gets cracked open more and more. So see if they can keep it up.
Just got to keep that pressure on if you're on the Cloud9 side. The Golden Guardians are happy just farming, and every time Nocturne's ultimate is up, look for a play, because they're kind of in their comfort zone, trying to keep this tower alive. I'm not sure that Summit got local gold from that. I don't actually know. I didn't see the gold pop up over his head, but he's going to look for a bit of a chase down here onto Licorice.
Going for it. Nice slap, but Licorice is making sure to keep back as much as possible, still has some of these minions to stand behind, and it's been pushed in enough. And I think that is the big thing with Golden Guardians, and making sure they still have this patience and not overextend. What had punished Cloud9 in that previous play of going a little too ham, Golden Guardians don't want to make the same misstep.
So pretty dominant early laning from Summit, as to be expected in this matchup and from this player, but post 6, he has been punished multiple times now. And the question is, does Cloud9 feel comfortable to fight for this next dragon? TP is available for Licorice, and he could move down for this. But Pridestalker has the ulti available again. So if someone overextends here, there is the opportunity to look for a play. We'll see if it's going to be towards Summit again, who is pushing up on that top side, who is a very, very squishy build. No defensive stats purchased up whatsoever, and is going to be pretty susceptible to these types of plays. With Nocturne up on top side, Summit going to be playing it safe and just will take an early base.
Licorice already hovering around mid. We're at that point where the supports are just unlocked, mostly hovering around that central focus of the map, so they can either respond to something like a paranoia or just be able to join the rest of the fight. But in the end, a little bit of lackluster action right now. As soon as the Rift Herald spawns, though, the rotation over from Golden Guardians, they step up into it. Some intel drawn over towards Cloud9. They did get the scuttle prior. They know this is here. There's wards down from Golden Guardians in this rush, though, so they know Cloud9 is coming, but they're not backing off of it just yet. Summit and Fudge from the opposite entrance. Paranoia comes down. Teleport here from Golden Guardians as well as Licorice makes his way through. The Bulletine on the side gets responded to by the exhaust once more. Blaber goes in, kicks back Licorice. Licorice is down. Olleh down too. The Chaos Storm continues to follow upon AblazeOlive, who flashes away from the Death Ray. But Blaber, even though he connects the kick, he cannot go just yet. Does he want to? Final slap, a triple kill from Fudge, laying it down on the Golden Guardians.
Quadra. Oh my God, Fudge popping off in that fight. Cloud9 roast Golden Guardians at the Herald fight. They get the Herald as well. No, excuse me, Pridestalker did secure that, but 4 kills onto your Viktor here. Moving over towards the Dragon, they're gonna be able to grab that as well. That is a massive fight for Cloud9. Berserker getting so much damage down with his ultimate in that one, and all of the AoE from Cloud9, GP ulti, Viktor ulti, MF ulti, got so much work done. Golden Guardians wanted to fight for this. Ornn is not with them at the start. You can see very early ultimate forced out there from Lost by Isle's ultimate on the Leona. The Ornn ulti comes through. Berserker got a lot of damage down early on, then had to flash out of Olleh's ult. And Licorice just not tanky enough at this point in the game. And the flash forward from Fudge, his initial tick of the ult hit all 3, and then the death lasers following through, chasing down, speed up from the Q to get in range here, lands the Q, the laser through both of them, makes it a quadra for Fudge. And he just picks up a full item going back to base there, buys an entire Zhonya's, already has the Leandries, knowing he's gonna be who they depend upon for a lot of this frontline damage. You can see how much work the soul laners got done from Cloud9, Summit, as well as Fudge, doing about 5,000 damage combined in that fight.
So fresh there in those moments, and on the opposite end, Pridestalker, for instance, not able to have an impact in that fight, and Golden Guardians, with their focus on the objective, were not as present in the damage that was to come through from Cloud9 afterwards. The Cloud9, they managed to get their second dragon now. A bit quick pickup on all fronts, so they can start stacking that once again. Solar Flare comes down, gets a lockdown onto Olleh. Come down with the Make It Rain as well. Berserker takes it onto the Braum for Olleh to be yeeted on out of this one. It's a pick-off for Cloud9, and the reward they get is Summit on that bot side, taking down a turret, making it all 3 outers down in favor of Cloud9.
Yeah, Golden Guardians losing on the other side of the map, away from the GP. It's rough because if you have GP just assisting with the ultimate, you get the kill there. He gets free time on that bottom tier 1, takes that down as well. Looking like it's going to be Shield Bow second for him, so going full on crate, expecting IE third. If that is the case, Summit, a lot of gold in his pocket from taking down these towers, from farming up the parlay gold. Things looking really, really good here for Cloud9 already. Off the back of these last couple of fights, they've created a 4.5k lead. They can get themselves to soul point here in about 3 minutes, assuming Golden Guardians can't really kind of staunch the bleeding. At the very least, for Golden Guardians, a lot of these tiers are going to be finished stacking up prior to the next dragon, so they will have some pretty big spikes coming through. We'll see if AblazeOlive can farm up enough gold to really get a second item, but he's very far behind the curve of where Fudge is. Already has that Blighting Jewel plus 2 fully completed items. Golden Guardians will drop their Herald mid and try to look for a crash here, but of course no plates to be had, and potentially could even stop this, but we'll at least get the charge off.
Most of them hanging out and around to make sure that it could charge through, see if Cloud9 were going to try and aggress onto it all. And Golden Guardians still waiting for the Ornn items to come through. That safe back positioning that they had before is much more difficult to execute upon when you have those outer turrets down. So having to turtle up even that much more, and a more difficult time getting that vision extended out. So Cloud9 taking this window to farm up for themselves.
Yep, Forge Fire Crest through for Licorice, so he hits 13. That's the first Ornn item through. If he can hit 14 prior to that dragon fight, he's got about half of a level to go, so probably will hit 14 prior to that, be able to give an upgrade over to his Corki or his Xayah. If Corki actually has the mythic completed, of course. If not, gonna have to give that upgrade to Xayah. And then the gold lead starts to lie to you a little bit because of the added stats that the Ornn is going to bring. We do know someone's hovering the Ornn here. Will they go for this play? But they don't know that someone's hovering Summit as well.
Summit knocked
Lee Sin's
up.
here.
Lee Sin's here, but so is Nocturne. The exhaust comes through. Another knockout from the Ornn Horn. Blaber thrown on away. Pridestalker still in stasis. And as soon as that comes through, so does the Solar Flare, because the rest of Cloud9 is here for the party. They take down two. And over up top, Fudge just taking it on with AblazeOlive. Kills all in Cloud9's favor.
Oh, the solo kill on top side for Fudge, taking down AblazeOlive, and that time, Blaber had the perfect read. He's ghosting Summit, just standing behind him there, tracking where that next play was going to be. They anticipate the Nocturne ulti. They get the kills there. The entire top side is dead. And now, Cloud9 onto the Baron here, TPing in for this. There's not much of an opportunity to really contest. Lost can try to look for some sort of a miracle steal with the feather pull, but it's very, very unlikely to happen, and Nocturne's not going to arrive here in time.
When they got eyes on you the whole time, a laser is easy to slice right through your heart like a dagger, and Cloud9 Baron on lock. That buff is going to do them great while they push with this Red Bull Baron buff.
Yeah, they get the Baron, they get the kills. This is that replay of the solo kill up on top side, so AblazeOlive pushing up here, but Fudge is very confident. Ablaze, using those spells early, nice sidestep on that last rocket, but closes the gap, no flash on him. And Fudge is able to stay on top of him, keep the laser on him. It's going to be Dragon as well going their way. So you can see Pridestalker up on the top side of the map. He is just continuing to farm. They know they can't contest right now with the additional Baron power plus the massive lead. Cloud9, though, 8K in the advantage, are cruising in this one. The early game looking pretty good for Golden Guardians, but last 10 minutes or so have been very, very Cloud9 favored. There's no defense being mounted for this tower, so this one is gone. Tier 2 mid looks like it may be just given up as well. They're going to give up at least 2 of these outers very, very quickly, and they're so valuable. So you're losing a lot of gold here over to Cloud9, just trying to get as much farm as you can on your jungler.
Splitting across these lanes, and even when looking over towards the towers on Cloud9's side, the top and mid are chunked down low by Golden Guardians, but they can't actually close the distance to finish those off and start giving them more of an area to play around.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of just hoping you win a team fight, you pick up some bounties from the kills, you pick up some bounties from the turrets, and you can maybe start to swing the game that way, but it's fully Cloud9 in the driver's seat here, now moving up towards top side, get that wave pushing in, look to collect the last of the tier 2 outers, and just extend this gold advantage. They don't have to win the game on this Baron push. Just make the gold lead balloon, get ready for that soul fight here in 4 minutes. And if Cloud9 can find any sort of opportunity, you can win a team fight, potentially even knock down some inhibs.
Lots of ultimates available on both sides here as well. Summit, no teleport, but does have his Cannon Barrage, so.
Fudge getting chunked out a little bit, it is a bit of a big deal, not going to be able to sustain up too easily. They're actually going to give him the red buff to be able to regen up. So I actually like this. They want to continue the push. They're dropping the ultis to just zone them off, but in goes Nocturne.
The answer's to Paranoia right there in the back. Take out Berserker, a big chunk of their damage. Exhaust used onto Fudge, who went to stasis, so as soon as he arrives, he ends up using his flash to get away. But here's the resurrection coming through for Pridestalker. Can he make an impact? In the meantime, he's lost in this. His death is imminent. Golden Guardians lose only one. It's the 1-for-1 trade right now, but they offset this push.
It's 1-for-1. They do get a big shutdown, so gold-wise, pretty good for them, but Cloud9 going to be able to continue the push and get more. They look in.
Get right on over. Teleport through. Olleh burned on down. Lost tries to get in here with the blade collar for some damage, but look at that heavy chunk that he cannot avoid. Summit nice and strong and healthy to put his body between the rest.
Yeah, Summit goes in the parlay, almost one taps lost there. Has the IE completed now, so Summit is monstrously strong, and Cloud9 gets so much more on the back end of that fight. It was a nice shutdown on a Berserker, but it's the GA spent to be able to do that. And Golden Guardians don't really have any tools now to actually try to fight at this sole point here. Summit picks up a stopwatch. Berserker picks up a stopwatch. There's already a Zhonya's on your mid laner. Blaber's closing in on his GA. He's probably going to have that completed before that next fight. So Cloud9 are picking up all the luxury items that they could ever need to be ready for this fight. And now Pridestalker are going to have to use the Blast Cone to retreat, but Lost is very far out here. He's in trouble.
Oh, and he knows it too. Olleh is wondering if he can help out, but in the end, Lost using the ultimate just for a little bit of a defensive ability, but the Paranoia comes through again. The Ornn Horn doesn't get the knockup just yet until now, but all the while, Pridestalker's marked down. Blaber has been marked down right on the flank. Berserker, though, has to get out of this. Lows down a decent amount of damage, and Fudge takes down the tank on the opposite side. 2 down for Golden Guardians, 2 down for Cloud9 here. Do they continue to follow up? They'll back off at that.
Yeah, they're going to at least push in mid here, get some damage down, because again, they have the health advantage. So even though it's a trade in kills, the Golden Guardians using their teamfight comp pretty effectively here. They are coming online, but they're just losing too much off the back end of these fights as another laser claims a kill. Cloud9 gonna get 2 towers here and an inhib.
How many times have we seen that laser just slice through at the distance? It feels like Xayah cannot get safe. Lost continually targeted here in these instances. As soon as Golden Guardians lose 1 or 2, the left end up leaving vulnerable.
Yeah, it's really difficult. You have to be careful about the backline access that Viktor does have with that laser. Is so far. Fudge now just taking away these camps, getting up to enough gold here. He's trying to get his death cap. He needs about 300 gold for death cap. Not sure that he's actually going to get there prior to this next fight. Cloud9 trying to get as many power spikes in as possible for this dragon fight. That is what they're prepping for. Blaber completes the GA. The stopwatches I mentioned earlier are still in. And with Futures Market, Fudge actually does have enough gold, so he completes the Rabadon's death cap. They've got everything going for themselves. 2 stopwatches ready, the Zhonya's is ready. They've got it all here. And you look over on the other side, they're just gonna try to engage immediately.
Yeah, Pridestalker's the one that tries to go for the play, but the Solar Flares drop down immediately. Zenith Blade to get the stun over here onto Olleh, so he tries to walk it out. A good knock up onto Berserker, smashed on down. Lost to be burned down soon as well. Golden Guardians lose the 3 for 2, but the flash forward from Summit, they want to get this last hit onto Licorice. Death Ray, a little bit of a sting.
They're gonna try to
Summit
end.
that takes the last ping. The teleport going over here towards this base. Fudge is here. Summit's here. Blaber is coming through the mid lane, and that's an inhibitor marked down. Pridestalker is up, but you have a full 20 seconds before any teammates arise. So instead, that's 1 inbound, or Nexus turret rather, a second Nexus turret to be taken by Cloud9, sending Golden Guardians quivering in their boots here in game number 1 to take it and start off the series.
28-minute win here from Cloud9, 13K advantage, looking dominant in this one. Fudge was a monster on the Viktor, 7-0 and 9. The early laning from Summit really strong as well. Golden Guardians showing some kind of glimpses of brilliance, showing that they had a pretty strong plan coming into this. Were able to find a couple early kills on a Summit that was really good, but Summit continued to pile on the pressure, knock down that top lane tower pretty much solo, being able to create a good CS advantage as well. So even though he was picked off a couple times, Cloud9, it felt like was kind of in the driver's seat for quite a bit of time, but the wheels really did fall off for Golden Guardians at that Herald fight. When they got crushed at the Herald, when they lose the Dragon off of that, because off of the couple early kills on Summit, they take the second Dragon, it felt like, hey, maybe they can play this game a little bit slow and get to the point where their carries are really ready to go. But the pace of the game picked up really fast, and Cloud9 was punishing them. And even though Golden Guardians had great dive onto Berserker and were able to kill him off multiple times, Fudge was so strong and was just crushing through these fights while he's being ignored.
It's what we were looking for from Cloud9. Show where that strength can come from, and in this case, the Fudge factor was in full effect. Cloud9 do begin their lower bracket journey with a bang, but taking down GG in a dominant